Community literacy. The first community that I focused on was Provo. And Provo, because of Brigham Young University, is a predominantly white and highly religious place. For me personally, some people might argue with me, it's a little bit more of a smaller town. So I decided to focus on things that you might be able to find everywhere. The first being the logo on a hotel parking lot. This is, of course, the Marriott Hotel. To be able to read it or understand it, they have to not only have a color literacy, but also a literacy in just the hotel itself. They're not able to actually read it. The UTA bus map for Provo is the second one I picked. Not only do they have to have a color literacy to be able to figure out which route is for which, there's also number literacy, and to be able to figure out where it's going. This can be very helpful for students who just kind of need to figure out, why do I need to know all of these things in relation to each other. The restaurant, I picked this one because not only is there a literacy of the images, to be able to fully understand why there's a Taj Mahal, you have to understand that it's a Taj Mahal and it's in India. But there's also the lovely two flags that they have, and to be able to understand what countries they have, not only do you have to have a little bit more of a country literacy, but also colors and context. I love mail, and so I couldn't help but put a post box on it. There is a distinctive color about our post office boxes that we have here in the US. It's a very beautiful navy color with a, I think, eagle symbol for the post. And this can be helpful not only for students to be able to understand what that's for, as they might not only know how to send emails, but also to help them recognize distinctive shapes, colors, and just to be able to know where to mail letters, so that when there's like books and other stuff, it'll give them context. I tried to find an actual fire truck, but all I could find was a fire space truck. So here we go. I picked this one not only because there's the lovely Provo logo, but also the distinctive color choice. There's a lot of books about fire trucks, and I thought it would be lovely to be able to have an actual fire truck picture for them to be able to realize that it actually exists and its function. But for our purposes, there's city logo and then also color literacy that is involved, and to be able to read and comprehend this. This one was fun. It started to make me think more about Egyptian hieroglyphics, not only about, like, some teachers teach that through emojis, but you can also teach that through things like this parking sign. So they're able to, if they understand this, they're not only able to recognize the P, but also recognize the logo and distinctive symbol that it means, that the P stands for parking, and then the arrows indicate where they can find the desired source. Handicap, again, different colors. There's a very distinctive symbol, and it represents something for it. To be able to know the representation is pretty important. The police car, the font on all the police cars seems to be the same, no matter where you're at. Most of the time, it's also a very color distinctive, where it's black and white, and then often with a siren up top flashing. The BYU logo is another one that is more of a symbol. It stands for something else, but as for this, it not only stands for Brigham Young University, but also a form of higher education. So students might be able to recognize the plaques that are often outside of teachers' doors telling people where the teachers have gotten their education from. This one's fun as well. Not only is there the sign where you have to be able to have a number and actual literacy to be able to read it, but if you look off to the right, there's the bathroom sign, and that one not only is helpful for the color literacies, but also just symbolism. It's a men's restroom. It's an easy word for first, second, third graders to sight read, all that fun stuff. The next city or community that I'm focusing on is Houston. It's my hometown. It's a very large, diverse city. It's not necessarily like New York, but it's very spread out. There's Latinos, Asians, African Americans, you name it, they're here. And the classrooms often reflect that as well, and as hopefully you'll be able to see, a lot of the community and the literacies are that way as well. And this is just due to necessary needs. This one, I decided to go a little bit more into fun things that can help students prepare for maybe field trips or other things like that. The first one being the Houston Metro map. To be able to read this, they not only have to have the literacy of colors, because there's a mess of colors right here, but the blue symbolizes the different bus routes. They have to have a letter literacy to be able to read where it's going, but also number literacy so that they're able to figure out the different bus routes. The NASA map is fun. I've been there so many times, but they're not only able to match the colors, so they have to have a color literacy, but this can also be helpful for the teachers to be able to have and know that their students will be able to safely guide themselves to where they want to go. They also can match the letters of the different sections to the actual different sections if they are that so inclined. This one was pretty easy. This is in front of the Children's Museum in Houston, and this one is just the word museum. And it's just something that is not only color, but also if they're to look there, they're able to become more literate and understand about the different kids off to the side and how it might symbolize that it's a children's museum. Speed limit sign, fairly normal. They have to have a color and number literacy to be able to recognize it, and it's a fairly normal thing. This can help the students to understand how all of this gets together, to recognize what not only this exhibit is about, but also to be able to have the comparison of the objects in front to the words like ape. Sorry, I'm going so quickly. I always seem to run out of time. This is like my third time doing this. This one has very simple words, but things like entrance is something super helpful for the students to know and understand and be literate in, not only about how the area sets it up, but the word itself. So you can say, hey everyone, we need to meet up at the entrance. This is arrows. If they find a word that reminds them, such as Duck Lake, and they can read that, they're able to then use their literacy of arrows to be able to get to where they want to go. Pressed penny machine, there is symbols, there's colors. It just really kind of shows you what it is and what you need to know from that. This one I really like because it says it has the please do not tap on the glass, and especially with younger students, to be able to show them what it might look like and where it might be placed is very helpful. But to be able to read it, they will have to have a picture literacy, because there's a picture of the python and what it might look like as it's curled up, but also literacy. They have to be able to read it to be able to fully comprehend what is needed. This one's fun because of the very distinctive color that a caution wet floor has. It also has the symbol of the person falling down. And the word caution. There's also, because Houston is such a diverse city, the second most spoken language is Spanish. So a lot of things that they have are in both English and Spanish. So how is this different from the stuff in the classroom? It's very different from the ideas that a lot of people have about literacy and what literacy should be in the classroom. And I think to be able to incorporate the things that the students are more aware of and comfortable with can really help them to be able to incorporate things and care about them. I really just learned how much literacy I use in my day-to-day life and about how much the students themselves can learn and use the things that they use in their community every single day. And to be able to take that into the classroom, I think can just show a lot of good life skills, such as the speed limit sign, or to be able to figure out where an entrance and an exit is. So, last thing, the 3 big ideas. The first that I found is just so much more is considered literacy than we normally accept it to be. And all of that craziness that I just barely shared with you can be brought into the classroom and can help students to not only integrate their outward society, but also just their classroom society into their lives. The second thing that was really interesting for me was just the size of community impacts the types of literacy that you will see and interact with, whether it be the language, whether it be the fact that there's so many museums and other stuff in Houston. And the last one that is just really impacted me was that you should just be creative in teaching your students to learn and read, because you never know what will pique their interest. And that, I believe, is everything. So thank you so much.